What's going on, y'all? So, how are y'all doing? We are in a new year. Kind of loud. I'm going to put this out on the offset of this goddamn video. I apologize if you hear any noise because just because it's a new year does not mean that my neighbors will change their fuck up ways. Okay, they're out there blasting this music and they've been blasting it for the past few hours. So if you hear some dun dun dun, okay, that's them. So I apologize. But let's get into this video. I hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve, was safe, sound, all that shit. Um, Real Housewives of Atlanta. We didn't get one last week because it was Christmas. So we are here for episode 9. No, episode 8, season 9, Bosom Buddies. Okay, why is this called Bosom Buddies? Because Cynthia is trying to get them girls done. I said, all right. So we start the episode off with Cynthia going to Dr. Kerr's. His name is Dr. Jameson. And we later found out that they call him Dr. Kerr from Portia, okay? So Kenya shows up, gunplay, killer Kenya, okay? Y'all saw Kenya on her fucking shit, talking about you motherfuckers who trespass, bitch, okay? What you will do, you gonna get a police report and all this stuff because that's misdemeanor trespass. And then she came out with that screenshot with her and that gun. I said, I know this bitch ain't got no gun up in no picture. Bitch, she had a gun out there. I said, oh, you ain't scared of Portia no more, huh? You ain't scared of that bitch no more. Or Matt. Which one? When did you get the gun, baby? But I said, all right, that's that Detroit. I said, bitch, I knew it was in you. I knew it was fucking in you. She like, I gotta protect mine. I'm a lonely housewife up here by myself, a single lady, and I need to protect myself. Okay, girl, that's what you gotta do. But everybody came there. Then Kandi came up there. And she was like, what good is it to do this and to have my good girlfriends? Kandi, like, I don't know why she told me to come out here, Then she asked, was Phaedra coming? Phaedra was coming. And Kandi was like, ain't this about a bitch? Was like, what's going on? Girl, I just sat down and I had a conversation with her yesterday, and it just really didn't go well. She talking to me, trying to talk about what my mama did. And then Cynthia was like, well, Mama Joyce was sitting there, and she did say damn near 25 times that, he gonna blow you the fuck up. Okay, that's what she said. And, Kandi, she becomes so nonchalant. And I seen the comments where people was like, well, how can she, a grown-ass woman, control another grown-ass woman? It's not about that. Okay, you can call your mother out in a respectful way and tell her that her behavior is kind of fucked up. All right, that's what we're talking about. Okay, we know she can't physically sit down or make her mother shut her goddamn mouth, but you condoning it by not speaking up and letting her do it, so it's making it seem as if you letting your mama speak for your ass. That's what we're talking about. Okay, which it is. All right, because as we see later on in the episode, they're gonna be still talking about the shit. Anyway. So Kandi started talking about what was going on, and she was like, you talking about Apollo when you just couldn't wait for him to leave, and you was already said and talking about something you finna get married in the new year, all this shit. Phaedra, you married yet? I just want to know. I really do. Cause Apollo giving out paper towel rings and shit like that, and. See, here's the thing. Apollo new fiance, you trying to go in on Phaedra, but Apollo still depending on Phaedra. Why don't you cause Phaedra finna pay some of his stuff off. Why don't you, as in terms of Yandy, be the new wife, okay, and pay the shit off? I mean, both y'all scammers, but anyway, moving on from that. Here's my thing. She's still sitting there spilling all this tea about Phaedra. And Cynthia was like, all this time, Kandi is the type of person that's, she's loyal to a fault. But you can just see that the stuff is building up, building up, building up. And now it's just spilling out. Kenya was like, bitch, she ain't spilling tea. She's spilling the whole Maxwell house. Which she kind of was. And I know some people was on, Kandi's side with calling Phaedra out on her bull. But here's my thing. Phaedra has done some fucked up shit. We can all sit here and agree on that shit. Phaedra didn't lie. Phaedra came onto the Real Housewives franchise lying, okay? We cannot forget the fact that she lied about when she was pregnant and how many months she was. That was the very first one. And that's what made everybody look at her like, okay, most of us still believe that, she knew exactly what the fuck Apollo was doing and she was doing the shit too. Anyway, so, I don't feel bad for the tongue lashing or whatever. The fact that they not cool with each other. I mean, I would like them to be, but when it comes to Kenya and Phaedra, I can't pick sides because I can see both sides. But the one thing with, I mean, Kandi and Phaedra, but the one thing that I can't get down with, because personally, this is something that I wouldn't do. You know, maybe some of y'all would do it, but I wouldn't. If I'm with somebody that I considered a friend, and we have a falling out where we no longer are speaking, you know, we don't know if later down in the road we're going to make up and then all that stuff, you know, let bygones be bygones, however many months, weeks, or whatever later, or if we never do. I will never, ever, ever, ever spill any type of motherfucking business that they told me, any disagreement, any argument, or whatever, any of their business to anybody, or put it in public any type of way, or spread it around here, there, and there just because I'm pissed off at them. That is something that I would never do. All your secrets that you told me will go to my motherfucking grave, okay? And I hope that you would do the same. There are people that I am no longer cool with, but you would never know any goddamn tea on them because I won't do that shit. That's just not the person that I am. And for Kandi to just do that, I just looked at her sideways. I mean, I'm not 100% pissed off at her, but I just look at her sideways just like I look at Phaedra sideways, okay? You know, Portia come in with Shereé, and I think it was key, whatever they said, that she had the same haircut, they had the same haircuts or whatever, fine. And that's when Portia was like, yeah, this Dr. Curve, you know, all these these bitches out here with these donkey booties and stuff, he did them, okay? I said, you probably would know because you probably got your shit done too. Anyway, so they get into the thing. Phaedra come in. She gives Kandi a hug. She was like, I know how to play nice. All right, they go in the back. Cynthia was like, you know, I want to bring the girls in there because she's getting her breast checked out because she's about to turn 50. She had the implants since she turned 40. So she's getting maintenance check to see, you know, what she has to do. And they was in there playing with the implants and stuff like that. And Dr. Jameson come in there. And, you know, first of all, they was just feeling all on. I was like, damn, Portia, you and Cynthia cool like that? Because they was loving them titties. I said, okay. I ain't going to say this kind of gay, but all right, you know, I didn't have a problem with it. You know, Kandi trying to sit there like, girl, the fuck? But then when the doctor came up in there, the doctor came up in there, and when Cynthia was about to take her shirt off, her little dress off, Kandi was the main one standing right in front of Cynthia like this. Let me see them titties. Phaedra was extra excited. I was like, damn, bitch, you need to get you something. Okay? You and Ford should probably be playing around click buddies with each other, so I wouldn't put it past them. You know, that's how you was coming off at Kandi, too. Like, y'all was... Anyway, and so... You know, he was testing out Cynthia's stuff, told her what needs to be done. I do appreciate the fact that she did put it out there. If you're going to get some implants, y'all got to keep a check on that. I was looking at Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when Yolanda was on there. Bitch, her implant had busted and the silicone stuff was just going throughout her body. That's a lot, y'all. Y'all got to keep up with this shit. And then when he was trying to guess who had implants, you know, Kandi made it known that she didn't have no implants. He said Portia first because she had everything got on display. Then he said Kenya. Kenya was like, all natural. Portia was like, bitch, quit playing. She was like, nah, bitch. She was like, you know you done had some surgery. She was like, no, you had them back shots, okay? I said... And I thought they was finna really get into it, but they didn't. They just left it cute like that. And I was like, okay, that's calm. You know, she kind of shaded her in confessional and stuff like that. Talk about bar surgery and all that shit. But I'm just glad it didn't escalate from there. So, other than that, that was cute. That was a cute little visit. Chateau fucking Shereé still ain't up in service, okay? Girl, she got the interior designer coming over, Michelle, okay? And Michelle, is it me? I have to look close because Michelle kind of give me Brandon tease, okay? And I'm seeing in the face, he looks like Brandon a little bit, just 1/4 shade darker than Brandon. You know, Brandon was a little bit of white chocolate. Mixed with a little bit of caramel, just a little bit, and he like a little bit of caramel. Bitch, he a little bit darker than Brandon, and he got dreads, okay? And he was giving me all his teeth for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But anyway, and that was, where the fuck is Brandon? You know, Brandon used to be on Kenya's sidekick like a motherfucker. But He's showing Shereé all these fabrics, okay? She talking about she wants the house to be open and ready, like it's finna go on show for everybody to come in and just, she finna charge at the door to come in or some shit, she want everything to be ready in the next 5 weeks. Okay, you see a $12,000 bed, a $5,000 chair. Bitch, she gonna have the nerve to say you a grown ass person and you over some age or whatever. Your house should not be looking like you be with a whole bunch of IKEA furniture. Bitch, if that's what I can afford, that's what the fuck it's gonna look like, bitch. Okay, and here's the point. The point is my IKEA furniture is gonna be all up in the house that didn't take forever for me to move up in. I'm just fucking saying. But okay, girl, because I'm sitting here looking like $12,000, $5,000, $2,000 for a piece of goddamn furniture, bitch, for one piece, one chair. I'm sitting here like, boo boo. Besides Real Housewives, where your income coming from? Bob gonna help you pay for this? Are you getting this on goodwill or good service or just I don't know, good faith or some shit? Is this gonna be rent-a-center type shit? Is this gonna be layaway? I'm confused. You're renting it because baby, she gonna say some she poor and all this stuff. She already over budget by $100,000. Child, you should be looking down somewhere else. Okay, you probably need to go to IKEA. I don't know. All right. So Kandi out there with Mama Joyce and Ace. Ace is so cute to me with his little jaws. I just love babies with them big old cheeks. Just remind me of Tiana Taylor's baby. Anyway, they out there to go get some jewelry. She want to get some diamond earrings for Riley. It's her 14th birthday finna come up. And she was like, Mama, let me tell you something. So, for some reason, I don't know why this is the first time in a while that I actually noticed. You look at Rock's video, and she do Kandi impersonation so fucking good. And she always say she's a tight teeth talker. And I was looking, I was like, you know what? This bitch was right the whole damn time. She really does talk through her teeth. She got an overbite. That's what it is. Because I got one too. Sometimes you can't help but talk through your teeth. I just did it right then and now. But, Mama Joyce was just like, she was trying to tell her what was going on. She met up with Phaedra and all this whole stuff, and she was still spilling the same tea, plus some more probably. We don't know what else was edited out. And she was like, that's good. That's good. You told her all of that. Okay, finally that you told her what was up so that she know not to fuck with you no more. Okay, see, I'm the type of person I would tell you like it is, okay? You don't fuck with me, okay? I ain't gonna hold that shit in, okay? But what she need to do is stay away from my baby, because if she don't, she gonna feel the wrath of mama. I said, girl, hush. We don't need to know that. We don't care no more. Move the fuck on. So, she brought up the fact that, she told Riley about Block wanting to, co-parent and all this stuff and speak to her and have a little relationship. And she was trying to ease it in, saying, and actually encouraging him a little bit, saying, maybe y'all start talking on the phone or whatever so you can feel a little bit comfortable and you should try to meet him. She was like, girl, I know he created me and all. He the birth father. He just the birth giver. He ain't no goddamn father. I said birth giver? Okay, I mean, if that's what you want to call it, that's what you want to call it. We're not going to go there. And, she was like, she is about to be 14. And the fact that her birthday is literally the day before his birthday, she do want them to try to connect in some type of way. But it's her decision. Child, that is a grown-ass looking 14-year-old. Fucking for real. You sure you turning 14 or 24? I'm confused. And of course, Mama Joyce being Mama Joyce, she was like, oh, why don't you come on and bring something with him? Bring me that check. I'm like, why do you always, it's about money. It's about money with Mama Joyce. It never fucking fails, so I'm not surprised. So Noel, she was having this conversation with Cynthia, and Cynthia was making it like, just because we broke up, me and Peter, y'all saw, first of all, they in the house and they still got Peter portrait, which was kind of fly. He was fly up in that portrait that was still up on the wall. But bitch, we divorced. Okay, take that shit down. All right, you don't want me to have the house. I'm finna take this shit down. I'm not gonna look at your face every day. But she was just saying that, just because they don't have a relationship does not mean that Noel and Peter shouldn't have one. And Noel is more so in her feelings because she feels as though, everybody is talking about it but not coming to her about it. And it's almost as if, you divorced my mom, so you divorced me, and you was like a second father to me, and nobody came to me and asked me how I felt and things of that such. So she went out, reached out to him, and they went to somebody told me it was Berkham hot yoga, whatever, because bitch, they was in there sweating. I was like, bitch, I always wanted to try yoga like that. But I gotta, a bitch a little bit too big to be trying to do all them moves, and hell no, I gotta lose a little bit more weight, and then I'm gonna try that shit out for real, for real. But it was cute. I actually do like the fact that Peter is trying to still be, or still wants to be involved in Noel's life, and because they have developed that bond. Because sometimes when parents, step parents, whatever, they get divorced, and they literally leave everything behind. I don't care if I had a relationship with the child or not. I don't have it no more. But the fact that he still wants to be there, he's still looking out for her, I do appreciate that. So I'm not gonna front on Peter like that. It was a touching scene. Noelle is old enough to know what's going on and to have these feelings and to express them. And she was expressing that, when you left, I had this relationship. Now I don't. It's a fucked up thing that you had to find out that on the face of cargo and on Instagram, and we didn't talk and all this stuff. And so she did have a little moment where she broke down, and it was nice. It was cute. Let me just tell y'all this. We can say all the shit that we want about Peter, but that motherfucker, we can't deny that he got some nice, smooth ass skin, okay? Let me find out him and Safari be sharing that damn coconut oil. But moving on from that. So Portia, she is going with Shamia to this place. I guess this workout rejuvenation or place or whatever. I forgot what it was called. Either way, the girl and Narissa, they was talking about Yoni eggs. Portia never heard of it. Baby, I heard of Yoni eggs from Real Sex. Look it up if you're young and you don't remember what Real Sex was. When I was a kid on HBO, late at night, used to go sneak and watch that shit. Stick the thing up in there, try to walk around with that shit all in there. Damn near like Kegel balls or whatever, but it's a little egg you stick up in there, tighten up your little vaginal walls and all that shit. I said, bitch, no the fuck you won't. But they literally stuck that shit up in there, and I said, Shereé came up in there like, y'all face down, ass up. What type of workout is this? Because they was doing little positions and shit. I said, me too. But Shereé was going to get in on it, but she was on her period. So she was like, no. So she just talking, and before they can actually really get into anything, here come messy ass Shereé. And see, I'm kind of upset that Shereé is coming back on this show just to be messy, but then again, it's giving us the drama, so I really can't fucking complain, okay? So it's like a catch-22. You do, you don't, Either way, it is what it is. So she was like, hey, girl, so let me tell you something. Kandi called me and told me that she met up with Phaedra, and that Phaedra was trying to get married to somebody else before Apollo died. Apollo died. Apollo went away and all this stuff. She was doing this and she was doing that. She said, bitch, she was all up with somebody else and she was doing... I said, well, good goddamn, Shereé. Who needs to hear the gossip in the street about your people? Just give it to fucking Shereé. She's in the circle. She would tell you every goddamn thing. Phaedra was, of course, Portia, she was in her feelings because y'all know Phaedra and Portia is like this. And I'm like, they clip bosom buddies, all that shit. And she was like, you don't need to be spreading rumors about people like that. It's a difference when somebody else outside your circles do some shit like that. But when somebody that was supposed to be your best friend or a good friend of yours is out here spreading your business, making it seem as if it's true, that's fucked up. And now this conversation has went to something else. Portia completely bypassed the part where Shamia said, well, when I was married to my husband, Phaedra did try to get with him. Phaedra was putting her ass all up in his face and doing all this, doing all that. And then when I went to some type of party, gonna tell him, I can't believe that you put a ring on her finger. I said, well, bitch, Shamia just spilled some tea that, some of y'all didn't already knew that, Phaedra was out here just giving them goods away and trying to get them goods away. And Portia completely bypassed that shit. They are still shooting outside. I don't have good goddamn time for this shit. Okay, y'all? This is a mess. Child, the shit didn't hit the goddamn fan. Okay, so Riley is her little birthday. You know, Kandi made sure to let us know that she giving this little 14-year-old $5,000 worth of jewelry. Mama Joyce is there. With little Ace and Todd, they eating cake, they dabbing on that hoe, you know. And Riley puts it out there. Little Kayla comes there, and she says, you know, Block called her, said happy birthday, and she was like, if we do hang out, if I need somebody to come with me like you, here go Mama Joyce. If Kandi don't do it, me ma come with you. Kandi was like, hell no, hell no, okay. And it was like, you know, Ty was saying, I think you need to go ahead and, you know, have this little sit down with him and all this stuff. But then they was trying to get, she was saying that she's gonna feel uncomfortable and stuff like that. So it was cute that Kayla was there so that she can give her opinion about, you know, her initial meeting with Todd. And, you know, she said she felt uncomfortable the first time, but you have to go through that step to get comfortable. And I was like, okay, that's cute. Whatever. Kandi said, bitch, I don't give a shit at this point. You know, he probably gonna call her for her birthday, and I don't see them hanging out. He probably ain't gonna talk to her until she turned 15. Okay? But then, this where the shit hit the fan. So Shereé, and Portia, they sit down at this little place. Then here come Phaedra, bitch. And they sitting there talking. Next thing you know, they want to bring up what was said about their conversation. And I had to agree with what's that girl name? Portia at this point. Only on this part. They was talking about the stuff where she was saying that, you know, you already had a man, you was planning on getting married, this, that. And what's her name? Portia said that it's one thing to have this discussion between the two of you, you know, put it out there, whatever. But for you, it shouldn't have left that. It shouldn't have left that environment. It shouldn't have left y'all. Okay, that conversation should have stayed right where it was. But now, King, you know, Cynthia, know, everybody and their mama know, and Shamia knows. Okay, and I agree with her. I mean, some you have to have that time where you let out your feelings to your friend, and if you have an argument or whatever, you have that discussion amongst yourselves, and it's supposed to stay amongst yourself. Okay, you don't need to go spreading it to everybody else, and that's exactly what Kandi did. That's what she's been doing, or they making it seem like she's been doing on this whole episode. But then, bitch, Shereé was like, but girl, you didn't tell her everything that happened, the little details in between, bitch. And she was like, what? She was like, with Shamia. Shamia said that she was trying to get with her husband, that she liked her husband back in the day or whatever. They just said, well, that bitch been misruming that bitch been fucking everybody, okay? Everybody's husband, all that shit. So what? What you trying to say? And let me tell you something. You know, I don't know what's wrong with Kandi. You know, she didn't stick to her thug of employees on me. She didn't did all this, she dogging me and all this shit. But bitch, did you know that her and Shamia was fucking? I said, bitch, wait a goddamn minute. They was like, bitch, what? Because then all of a sudden I had looked up, I had to rewind because Faith was like, I said, wait a minute, girl, calm down, come back. I wasn't expecting that. And so if y'all follow Kandi on her Snapchat, Shamia always, and I was sitting here like, I can kind of see it though. I mean, it is Atlanta, you know, and hey, shit goes down in the motherfucking DMs, Snapchats, and everywhere. Shamia is always with her most of the time. I'm just saying, if it happened, it happened. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it, unless, I mean, if Ty cool with it, they husband's cool with it. Bitch, are y'all surprised if it's true? Is y'all surprised about that? I'm pretty sure most of y'all like hell now. So Cynthia and Mallory and her mother, they go up to see the new house, and you know, they get into a discussion about how Noel felt about Peter and how she hasn't seen him in a long time, and how Noel told her that, you know, when she saw him she broke down crying and all this stuff. And you know, they was just talking about that. But fuck all that shit. Let's get into when Kandi met up with Shereé and Portia. Portia had the nerves. Now see, I don't know. I can't say it's confusing. Honestly, I feel as though because you're cool with both sides, you're somewhat cool with Kandi. Yeah, call her out a little bit, but you know she's going real hard about the shit that Phaedra did, and Kandi. I can understand the going hard about, you know, why are you telling everybody this stuff, and then when they sat down and shit. And Kandi was like, don't act like you don't know what the fuck was going on because you were there. You know everything too. And Portia was like, what? About her cheating on him and on Apollo and all this shit. And so I do think Portia knew, okay, but see, here's the difference. Portia is not going around spreading that business because as a friend, you don't spread your friend's business like that. And there, of course, she's not going to put it out there, confirm or deny it or whatever the fuck. She's gonna have her friend back. But see, Kandi, like she said, that's not my good girlfriend. We're not even fucking friends. But still, you shouldn't put the shit out there. But still, again, it ain't shit that we didn't know already. Okay, we didn't know. We knew it already. I mean, when Kandi brought it up with Phaedra, she didn't fucking deny it. Okay, we know that she stepped out, and we also know that Apollo stepped out, and he been stepping out forever. Okay, so I don't get it. And then this shit with Portia talking about some, we're about to confront the bully that is Kandi. And I'm sitting here like, what is bully? Like, she not bullying you. Okay? Y'all had disagreements and she called you out on your bullshit, and now you want to call her out on the bullshit because of the way that she handled it. That's all that it is. There is no bullying. Quit throwing this bully word out here. Ain't nobody torturing you and all this stuff. No, stop that shit. What's your name? Portia? Okay? And I'm like, are you defending Shamia? Like, I'm just baffled by the fact that she completely dismissed what Shamia had to say. And I guess it's because Shamia is really good close with Kandi, but I thought, did Kandi bring Shamia on? No, Portia brought Shamia on, right? So, I'm a little confused. Okay? And Shereé just sitting there like, girl, yeah, this happened. And then, Portia want to get into whether or not she had sex with Block. Who gives a shit? I was just like Kandi. Who gives a shit? It ain't like people out here, when she said that shit, it ain't like nobody out here in the street saying that you a virgin. I said, bitch, we all know ain't none of you hoes virgins. And Portia, they done put miles on your pussy like it ain't nothing, even if you did or you didn't. So, girl, calm down. I'm just sitting here like, oh, shit. Because she was, and I said, you know what, Portia, at this point in time, I get that you're trying to defend your friend, and that's what you're supposed to do, but Kandi giving her track record, girl, you better shut the fuck up before she blow up your spot, okay? So Kandi is like, girl, you know damn well all this stuff, and Portia sitting there like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. And it is possible to have friends to say, you tell one friend some stuff and you don't tell the other friend the same thing. You tell them something different. So that's possible. But like Shereé said, she got her girl back. Now either she playing dumb to keep her girl back, or she just really fucking dumb. But when Kandi said, fuck this shit, um. Portia, you was telling her you just want the mudslinging to stop and all that stuff, and you coming at Kandi about that. Can you tell Phaedra the same thing? Because they both going back and forth. Don't just sit and tell one person one thing and not tell the other if you're going to, try to mediate this thing, okay? Because that's what you're supposed to do. But Shereé said, bitch, I don't know what the fuck is going on. These bitches are messy. I said, you of all motherfucking people. She said, damn, we done got into it so much I ain't even get a chance to eat, And she was like, well, Kandi was up here talking like she knew exactly what was going on in your relationship with Block, like she was there. She was like, bitch, peeping up in the closet or some shit like that. And here go Portia. She probably still in there. And then Shereé picked up on it like, hold up. Now, I'm talking about peeping in a keyhole and all that shit. What the fuck you talking about? And she was like, I'm talking about that too. I said, bitch, you know the fuck? Here goes Shereé. Is she saying that Kandi is a lesbian? Child. It was a mess. It was a good episode towards. It was a mess though. It was a mess. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. I'm just still stuck on Shereé talking about some of these motherfuckers being messy. Bitch, you are queen messy on this show. But y'all tell me how y'all feel. Enjoy the rest of your day, your night, and I will see you guys later. Peace.